It happened on the kind of rainy morning that made the world feel heavier than usual. Gray clouds hung low over the city skyline, mirroring the weight in Emily Stanton's heart as her wheelchair slowly rolled down the hospital corridor. The wheels squeaked slightly as she moved, an echo of her shattered dreams. Just 6 months ago, Emily was dancing under stadium lights, the youngest ballet prodigy to ever lead the New York Academy's grand performance. But one freak accident, a distracted driver, a slippery road, a screech of tires, had stolen everything. Her spine was damaged beyond repair. Or so they said. She hadn't walked since. And worse than the paralysis was the loneliness that followed. Everyone called her brave, but they didn't see the nights she cried into her pillow or the way she pretended to be okay just to stop her father from looking at her with that same haunted helplessness. Her father, Charles Stanton, the billionaire CEO of Stanton Global, a man used to fixing problems with money, power, and speed. But no amount of money could buy her legs back. And no amount of power could fix her soul. If you believe in the power of kindness, second chances, and the idea that one ordinary person can change everything, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who needs a little light today. Your support helps stories like this reach those who need hope the most. Charles had hired the best therapists, neurologists, even controversial foreign experts. He converted one wing of his mansion into a rehabilitation center. But nothing worked. Emily refused to speak most days. She withdrew into herself, haunted by the girl she used to be. It broke him. Not because he cared about appearances, but because he had built empires, yet stood powerless in front of his daughter. That's when he made the decision to take her away from the city, away from the noise, away from the sterile hospital beds and murmurs of pity. He took her to a remote recovery retreat in the mountains, a place called Healing Storms. A private facility known for combining modern therapy with emotional healing. It was his last hope. The air in the mountains was cleaner, colder, and harsher in a way that made Emily feel even more fragile. The staff was kind, but distant. Another patient to check off. Another routine to follow. Then, on the third day, something happened. She was sitting alone outside one of the wooden cabins, staring at the distant treetops, when a little boy walked up to her. He looked no older than 6. Freckles dotted his cheeks like stardust and he had this stubborn little cowlick in his brown hair. He stared at her wheelchair for a moment, then looked into her eyes and smiled. "My dad says you're really sad," he said simply. Emily blinked, unsure how to respond. "He says sometimes sad people just need a different kind of help," the boy continued. "He can help you. He helped me when Mommy went to heaven." She didn't know what to say, so she didn't. The boy turned and pointed toward the nearby greenhouse where a man in worn jeans and a navy blue t-shirt was tending to plants. He looked strong, hands rough with labor, but there was something calm in the way he moved. Grounded. Real. And when he looked up and noticed Emily, he smiled, not a pitying smile, not a doctor's forced grin, but something gentle and human. That night, she couldn't sleep. Not because of pain, she was used to that, but because of the boy's words. "He helped me." Who was he? The next morning, the man approached while she was sketching. He didn't ask what she was drawing or why she looked so angry. Instead, he knelt down, slowly, as if not to scare her, and offered a small flower he'd picked from the garden. "You don't have to smile," he said, "but maybe this will make today 1% better." Then he walked away. His name was Adam Miller. A single dad, once a physical therapist at a major hospital until his wife's sudden death led him to walk away from it all. He moved to the mountains to raise his son in peace. When he wasn't volunteering at Healing Storms, he taught survival skills and grew herbs. But what no one knew was that Adam had a gift, a way of connecting with patients emotionally before he ever asked them to move a muscle. He didn't treat the injury, he treated the person. It took Emily weeks to let him near her. She fought him. With silence. With sarcasm. With shut doors. But Adam didn't push. He would sit near her while she painted or gardened with his son nearby. Slowly, she found herself talking. Then laughing. Then crying. And finally, trusting. One morning, as dawn lit the misty fields outside the cabin, Adam looked at her and said quietly, "I think your body's waiting on your heart. And your heart's waiting on permission to believe again." She didn't respond. But she didn't look away either. Later that week, she agreed to let him try something unconventional. He designed a therapy not centered around machines, but memory. He recreated the ballet studio's energy, hung mirrors, played classical music, surrounded her with scents she remembered from before the accident. He said he wanted to remind her body of what it used to love. What followed was painful. Agonizing. Unbearably slow. But something was different. She didn't feel like a patient anymore. She felt like a person again. And for the first time in 6 months, when Adam gently supported her waist and said, "Let's try to stand together," her legs didn't scream in protest. They trembled. But they didn't give out. She didn't walk that day. But she stood for 3 seconds. And she wept, not out of pain, but out of hope. Charles Stanton didn't understand it at first. He had hired dozens of professionals, spent millions, and now this ordinary man from nowhere had done what none of them could. He confronted Adam, skeptical and guarded. "What makes you think you can fix her?" he asked, voice low with years of frustration. Adam didn't flinch. "Because I don't see her as broken. I see a girl who forgot how strong she is." That was the day Charles finally let go, and let someone else in. Progress was slow. Some days, Emily regressed. Others, she surprised herself. But always, Adam was there. Not with commands. But with calm. He never once promised she'd walk again. He only promised she wouldn't face it alone. And sometimes, that was enough. One golden autumn evening, in the field outside the retreat, Emily took her first 5 unassisted steps. Her son's laughter echoed in the background. Adam smiled quietly. Charles cried openly. And Emily, for the first time, believed in tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please don't leave without liking this video, subscribing to Kindness Corner, and sharing it with someone who needs a little hope. Your engagement helps us keep spreading stories that heal. Speech Balloon, we'd love to hear from you. Please comment below, what part of this story moved you the most? Your words help us bring more kindness into the world. Would you like me to continue the story into a part 2, perhaps showing what happens when Emily decides to help others like her?